Hello everyone, it's Melanie here with Vintage Hill Studio. Today I have a fun card called Funny Farm, no less. And this is what it looks like. So to start with, this is a Stampendous clean rubber stamp by Fran. And I found this at Hobby Lobby. These are the papers I'll be using, as well as some Bristol Smooth cardstock. So I will get this Bristol put into my Mini Misty and bring over the stamp. Now you don't want to remove this outer film here. It has the actual print of your stamp and it stays on the clean rubber stamp. So just close your door over the whole thing. I'm inking it up with a VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and this creates such a detailed stamped image. I mean, it's actually just gorgeous in black and white. Here is what it looks like. This was a lot of fun to color. I chose to use markers for this, and I kind of scribble on some scrap paper to see what colors I want to use, so that's my little trick for picking my colors. It doesn't matter to me if these are the same brand markers or not, I just use what I have on hand. So to start with, I'm going to just flick on some of this brown. I chose two colors of brown for the wood on the inside of this image here. And I'm going to do this just very quickly. I'll come back and add some shadows later, intensifying some of the color around the animals and in the crevices of this little barn door here. And then I'm going to speed this up quite a bit and add some music. But you'll see as I go along, I will go outside the lines on this wooden area because I'm going to be using a rectangular die to cut this out later and to coordinate with the front of my card. So I want to go outside of the lines to make sure I have plenty of color here on the front. I guess that's easier to see than to explain. So when you see me going outside the lines on this wooden part, you'll know why. Let me add some music and I'll speed this up and we will continue to color, and I'll catch up with you in just a little bit. There is my finished image, and I just love those little faces. They're so sweet. So now I'll move on to finishing my card front here. This is a 5 by 6.5 inch card, and I'm going to use this wood mat. All the dimensions and supplies can be found on my card blog at vintagehillstudio.com. I hope you'll come over and become a subscriber. So you can see this is the rectangular die that I will be using on the front of my card as well as around my image. And I'm going to actually make my own barn door here for the front of the card. And the way I'm going to do that is lay my rectangular die down on my mat. And then when I run it through my Big Shot die cutting machine, I want to make sure that I only cut 3 sides. Now the trick to doing this is to place this in your machine, and then when you put your top plate over your die, you want to make sure that you leave the one long end out from under the plates. So your die cutting machine is only going to cut what is between the 2 plates. So you can see here as I move forward, I've got the die sticking out from the top plate by just a little bit. Now this is going to create a natural hinge for the door that I'm trying to make for the front of my card. I will remove my die and you will see what I have here. So I have 3 cut sides and 1 long side that is not cut because it was not sandwiched between those plates. So here is my natural hinge for my door. Now if I flip that over, you'll see that the die did leave the impression of a score line for me, which is very helpful. I'm going to bring over my We Are Memories mini scoring board, and I'll take this bone folder or scoring tool here, and I will just trace over that score line that the die left. Just like this. And then I will simply take that scoring tool and reinforce that line that I just made, and that creates my little door for the front of my card. You can see my image is going to fit right behind here, and I can see I need to add a little more color to the wood that I did on the inside. So I'll bring over my marker and just add a little bit more border. You don't have to be all that careful with it because most of it's going to be hidden behind that front cutout. So I'm just adding a little excess there, and then I'll come back with a Sharpie black marker and add some wood grain to coordinate with what was already on the stamped image. And I'll bring over my T-square ruler and also make myself a little header board there at the top, just so it looks finished and blended together as if it were part of the original stamp. And then I'll be ready to proceed with getting this card front put together. All right. Now what I want to do is arrange this behind my barn door opening, and I will just tape that in place from the back, and then I will add some liquid adhesive and get that adhered to the front of my card. There we go. So you don't have to have a die for every little thing. What I did was I picked a label die that I had in my stash because I like those fleur-de-lis parts on each end of this label. And I thought if I simply used this die and cut those apart, it will look like iron hinges and an iron handle for my barn door. So that's what I'm going to do. I encourage you to look through what you have. Don't fret if you don't have everything, every little die for every little project. Just use your imagination, see what you can come up with. I thought this made the perfect hardware for the front of my card. So I'm adding the hinges, and then I'll go back to that little die cut, and there are a couple of loop-de-loops. I'm going to cut one of those apart and use that for the iron handle on my door. And that pretty much completes the whole barn door look there that I'm going for. Let that dry a little bit. And I thought I still needed something on the front of this card, so I chose to use a happy birthday stamp. And the happy birthday stamp I think is from Fiskars. I'm not really sure because I don't have the packaging that it came with, but I'm going to stamp this on a little bit of patterned paper that I thought coordinated pretty well with the barnwood look on that front of my card. And I'm simply going to fussy cut this, leaving a little bit of border around the stamped image. And that will go on the front of my card, just as a little extra character to kind of entice you to see what's behind that door. Okay, it'll go about right there. I'd like to pop it up on a little bit of foam tape for some added dimension. And I got that put down, and it still was looking a little bit of plain because there's not any other color on the front of the card, and that's okay. All the color is found behind that door. But to add a little more character to this, I decided to bring over some fine rope jute. Now this came on some gift packaging or something. I've just kept it, not knowing when I would use it. But this is the perfect size for the front of my card. And I think it also goes with this farm theme, just creating a little rope and some loop-de-loops here. I'm using my tacky glue, which dries pretty quickly, to get this adhered to the front of my card. And since I'm going over the hinge and up to the corner there, I want to make sure that my card is operational. My door front is operational, so I open and close it several times to make sure I'm not restricting the functionality of that door. Alright, and then I'm going to use a little bit down at the bottom and go towards the opposite corner just to balance out the little added detail here on the front of my card. This card was really a lot of fun to make. As you can see, the most labor-intensive part was coloring, but it actually goes pretty quickly. It's some easy coloring to do. The stamp is just beautiful. If you use those little hash line marks on the stamped image, that helps you with the placement of where you need to add your shadows and leave your highlights. So anyway, I think I mentioned that I found that stamp at Hobby Lobby. If you wait till things are on sale, you can still pick it up. I think I saw it there just last week. It is such a cute stamp. So that finishes my card front for this week. But the fun part is on the inside. Now, I found this at a craft fair one time. It was from Eyelet Outlet, and they really specialize in eyelets and brads. But their stamps, they also have these stamps, and they're so cute. So cute. So I am going to use this sentiment on your birthday. You're not an old blank, but you're no kid either. Oh, so funny. So funny. I'm going to mark the center of the sentiment here and give myself a pilot hole with my 2-in-1 so that I can slip that goat brad through there. So that little package that I showed you had both cows and goats in it. and it was too cute to pass up, so I had to buy these for myself. And I've been waiting to use this stamp set and this brad, and I think it's just perfect for this Funny Farm card. So that will go on the inside of my card, and I'm also bringing over a little scrap of that wood patterned paper from the front, just so that as you open and close the card, it's all coordinated. Adding a little stitching around my sentiment, and that is it. So much fun from front to back to the inside, and I mean, how can you not love this little goat? So here is my finished card with my lined envelope. If you're interested in learning how to line your envelopes, visit my YouTube channel and search for Easy Peasy Lined Envelopes. No special dies or measurements needed, and what a nice finish to your custom-made cards. I'm so happy you dropped by today. Please feel free to leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe so you can catch my weekly videos. I'd love to see you back next week. Happy crafting, everyone!